Welcome to Haes Technologies Technical Support videos. This video is part one of an overview of the Esprit Addressable range of panels config software. On installing and opening the software, you will be presented with the following startup screen. The first step is to open up a new file. From the top left-hand corner, under File, click the New icon. You will be presented with the New Panel wizard. This wizard will help you set up a new panel. First up, we will need to select the protocol you want to use. So you can either select Argus, Apollo, or you can select it if you're using it as a repeater panel. In this case, we'll be looking at the Argus protocol, but the Apollo version is exactly the same but with different devices. You will also need to set the number of loops on the panel. When you have made the selections, click the Continue option. Next, you'll be asked if you have the extra zone card LED fitted. The standard is an 18 zone, or if you have the 36 zone version, you need to tick the extra zones fitted box. Then click Continue. Next, you will be asked if this panel is going to be part of a network. You can click the option where it says Network Panel and also set the address of the panel you're working on. There will be a separate file for each panel on the network. Once selected, press Continue. Next, you will be asked to fill out the system information box. This is not a requirement, but you can put in there the system name, company name, and the address of the system. After you've set these, press Continue. Lastly, you will get a little pop-up window there that just says complete your panel setup. The information of the options you've chosen are shown below. When done, push the Done button. This will take you back to the main screen. You can check the protocol that you've chosen if you're halfway through by clicking on the protocol option at the top left-hand corner, and it will confirm which protocol the software is set to. You cannot change the protocol from here. That is done when you run the initial wizard. This is for information only. So your first main tab is the Loops tab, which is your main window. Down the left-hand side, you'll see all the detectors and devices that will fit on this system. Using the slider button will reveal more and more options all the way down to the bottom there. You can speed up your selection by clicking on the filter option, typing in the first few letters of the device you're looking for. In this case, our device we're looking for is the VMC range of devices. By typing this in there, the list will automatically update to any devices starting with VMC, just to make your search a bit quicker. Alternatively, you can just scroll down and find the device you require from the list. The loop window has two different types of view. You have a table view that will show the devices and the information about them in a large table layout, or you can change it to a list view as well, which will show you all the devices in a list, as shown here. For each device, you can list the devices by part number, device name, i.e. the text, or their zone label or zone number. The next step is to populate the loop. Starting with loop number 1, as this is only a one loop panel. We then find our device on the left hand side, and we just drag the devices into the box that we require. In this case, we'll take this device and drop it onto box number 2 or address number 2. We can then take the device and drop it onto address number 4, address number 5. And then we can find the call points we require and again drag them over and drop them onto the correct address required. And you'll do this until you've completed all the devices on the loop that you need. On a multi-loop panel, you'd have loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4 shown above here. You can then click on loop number 2 and carry out the same process again for that loop. Devices can be removed by right-hand clicking on any device and choosing the Remove Device option. When highlighting any device, you'll notice on the right-hand side you have much more detailed information for the device you've selected. Here we click on the call point, and again the information for the call point pops up in this right-hand corner. Looking at this selected call point in more detail, you see the information shows its address that we've chosen for it, a in-depth description of the device, its part number, this would be its Argus part number, its type code, this is just the type code the panel sees the device as, and its subtype code. These are more used for recognition rather than everyday usage. But from this corner, this is where you can then set the zone for the device. So using the drag down box, you can set the zone from between 1 to 36. This will show you any groups attached to it. At the moment, there's no groups attached to it, but this will give you a summary of any groups that this device is in. And the main one here is the name of the device. By default, the device is known as Loop 1 Device 1. What you'll do literally is click on this line here, backspace to remove this information, and then type in the new device details. Other options are latch-in, yes or no. By default, it will be a latch-in device, or non-alarm, where it brings up an alarm on the panel but doesn't ring the bells. It's just an indication only. And similarly for the smoke detectors, this is address number 5. It's an Alta Intelligent Thermal Detector. Again, here's its part number. This is its Argus part number. Its type and its subtype. The zone it's going to be assigned to, at the moment it's set zone number 1. And then again, its name by default it's loop number 1 device 5. This can be removed and a more detailed text put in, like room 6, room 7, corridor 8, and such. Again, you can select whether it is a standard base or a sounder base, which is selected in here, and whether the device is going to be latching, and whether the device will be included in dependency modes, which we will cover later on. For this device, we're going to change its zone number to zone 10, and we've renamed it as room 10. Using the same process for each device, we'll highlight each device, change its zone number and its name. This will then be shown in the device list here if you choose the list view, or you can use the table view. List view is more useful when you're checking device names and zones. And here you get a list of the devices we've changed. This is outside room number 1, zone 1, room number 1, zone 1, outside room number 2, etc., etc. So you'll do this for all your devices on the loop. Moving on to the zone icon at the top. Here again, down the left-hand side, you will be shown all the devices on your system. You can view them by loop, by type, by zone, or which group they're attached to. In the middle here is a list of all the zones you have on your system. So on this one, we'll have 18 zones. On the larger panels, you'll have 36 zones. And then it also gives you a summary of the amount of devices assigned to each zone. So in this case, the default zone number 1 has 2 devices attached to it, which you can see from the left-hand side. Zone 2 has 1 device, Zone 3 has 1 device, and all the others have no devices except for Zone 10 that has 1 device attached to it. So this list will be generated from the information you give on the left-hand side. If you then highlight zone number 1, you'll then see all the devices pop up on the right here that are assigned to the zone itself, so you can see them in more detail. By highlighting zone number 1, you can then change the default text for the zone. On the right hand side here, the default text would say device zone 1. Again, if you scrub out that information and then type in, for example, ground floor, this will then be applied to zone number 1. So in future, zone number 1 would be called ground floor. Other information on the right hand side here, it is dependency mode. Again, you can set dependency modes on zones as a whole. Again, at the moment, by default, it will be off. We'll go through more detail in dependency modes later. And also the tone profile that the zone uses. Again, tone profile is the sound that the zone will generate if any zonal program is used. By the default means it uses the first tone profile, which will be tone profile 1. Again, similarly, we can highlight zone number 2, retype its text where it says first floor, for instance. And again, then that updates the information on the left here, so that zone number 2 is now known as first floor. It will show whatever you've typed in on the right. The next icon we're clicking on is the I/O groups, or the input-output groups. This is the option where we set up our cause and effect. The screen layout again on the left-hand side will show you all your available devices you get to do the programming. In the center there will show you all the available groups and how many devices they contain. You can have up to 64 groups. At the moment they're all empty, so there's no devices attached. Over the right hand side here is the input box. This will show the inputs assigned to a group, and the bottom here is all the outputs assigned to a group. And on the on the right hand side is the information about the group itself and how it will function. To form a group, you can choose whichever number you want, but you will take a device that you require to actually be in the group, and you just drag and drop it over the group number. In this case, we're going to form group number 1, so we'll take the first smoke detector and we'll drop it onto group number 1. It will then show as an input in group number 1. In this example, we're going to use 3 smoke detectors to individually as a group fire an output, which is this unit here, the VMC 120. So we're going to form a simple group of if this smoke detector, or this smoke detector will operate this output. So by the same process, we take the second smoke detector and drop it over group number 1. And then we take the third smoke detector and drop it over group number 1. And then you'll see all 3 smoke detectors then will fill up the input part of the group. We'll then take the unit we want to actually control. In this case, it will be this output module, and we'll take that and also drop it over the group number 1. Again, it will go into separate output devices in this window here. So we see the inputs that are going to trigger the group number 1 and the outputs that are going to be controlled by group number 1 in this box. This is done automatically, so whenever you drop an input or an output over a group number, they will be put into the correct boxes. You'll also see here for smaller groups, it shows a pictorial view of what's in the group on the right hand side here. So we're looking at how the group's going to be triggered. Over the right hand side here, you can see that group number 1 is just named group number 1. We can give it a group name, so you can rename that as something like door retainers or door control, whatever you want to. It shows you the amount of devices in the group here. And then it asks you for how you want to activate the group. By default, the group is activated by the setting normal. This means that any input in the group will fire any output in the group. There can be more than one output. In this case, we've just got 3 inputs and 1 output. So if it's the activation mode is set to normal, this smoke, or this smoke will activate this output. You've also got other options like 2-stage. This is useful for bell circuits. This would mean the first device, if there was a bell in this group, the first device would make the bell pulse. The second device going off would make the bell go continuous for 2-stage evacuation. Again, remember you can have as many inputs in a group and as many outputs in a group. The next option is coincidence. This is double knocking or coincidence. This means that this device and this device would need to go before this device went. There is also an option here for the alarm count. This is the setting for setting how many devices need to be in fire to activate the output for the group. So if you set a group to coincidence and you set the alarm count to 3, you'd need this device, and this device to fire this output. The last option is a special option called isolation. This allows any input in the group to isolate an output in a group. You also have the option to choose whether the group is latching or non-latching, and which profile the group will generate. So a group activation can actually generate a different sounder profile or a different tone to a normal alarm, and this can be chosen from the option here. By default, all groups and all outputs and all fires use the default tone profile number 1. As shown here, you can select which profile you want. So if you want the group to generate a different profile, you could choose profile 4, for instance, and have a completely unique tone for when the group is activated. Once the group has been generated, it's important to know that the output part of this device will have to have some of its alarm responses changed. So down the bottom right hand corner for the device, the output part of the group, the device itself has its own set of responses to certain activations and alarms. These need to be altered to suit the group in. So for the output module that's being controlled by the group, at the moment, its alarm response would be set to on. This would need to be changed to off, otherwise any alarm or any common alarm will override your group response. So in this case, we're going to set the alarm response to off. Also, the zonal response again should be set to off, otherwise any zones will override your group responses. The evacuate response is up to you. Do you want the output to respond to an evacuate? Yes or no. You can turn this off if you don't. Did it respond to a delay? Yes or no. A group response, obviously, we do want it to respond to because that's what we just generated. So the group response needs to be left on. The others all could be turned off. The next icon is the output profiles options. Here we can set up to 15 different profiles. Profiles are a library of sounds and volume sets for a specific event. By default, all the panel outputs will use profile number 1, which is your default setting. And here you can see that for each event on the system, you can have a different sound if the device you're controlling supports it, obviously. So here we have tone number 1 for an alarm. This is the Argus information, so this would be an alternate warble. A zonal response uses the same tone, and evacuate uses the same tone. Delays use a continuous tone. Alerts use a continuous tone. Again, you can change this at any point and choose any of the tones on the system. You've got a class change tone that can be different. A muster alarm for marine usage that's generally off. A stage 1 group is continuous tone. And looking further down, you've got group activations. Again, by default, it uses tone number 1 or sound number 1 from the devices. And also faults on the system that uses tone number 1. Each of the events has its own volume control, so some can be louder than others, and they're all adjusted here. And at any point, you can set up your own profiles with different sounds, different volumes, and these profiles can then be attached to certain events, zone events, or individual events, so that each device can can have its own profile and generate a different tone. When selecting the tone, if you click on the little drag down arrow box, you can choose from a multitude of different sounds depending on the device you're going to control. These are all the options for the Argus devices. And this is if we just want to change the tone for the alarm event. Again, we can have a different sound for zonal, a different sound for evacuate, depending on whether the devices support those tones, obviously. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please visit our website at www.haes-tech.com. And please watch part 2 for more information on the config software.